The Scars of Steel, Part 4 of 4. The story continues from Part 3. Sergeant Riley is leading his depleted platoon on a desperate night march to break through enemy lines, having left Corporal Evans behind. During the tense, silent crossing of an open field, illuminated by the sporadic, ghostly light of distant German flares, they came under heavy machine gun fire. The bullets ripped through the air around them, kicking up dirt. Private Smiler Jones, trying to drag a wounded Private Wilkins to the scant cover of a shallow ditch, cried out as a bullet tore through his leg, sending him sprawling. Riley, without a moment's hesitation, reacted with the ferocity of a cornered wolf. He yelled for the others to provide covering fire, and then charged the machine gun nest alone, his Sten gun blazing, a figure of terrifying fury in the flickering, uncertain light. He silenced the gun, the German crew falling silent, but not before he took a bullet in the arm, the impact spinning him around. He ignored the searing pain, grabbed the wounded Smiler, and half-carried, half-dragged him back to the relative safety of the ditch where Wilkins lay, trying to return fire with his Enfield. "He's bad, Sarge," Wilkins said, his voice shaking as he tried to staunch the flow of blood from Smiler's leg with a field dressing. "Real bad." Riley knew. He could see it in the boy's pale face, the way his eyes were starting to glaze over. He also knew they couldn't stop, not now, not with German patrols undoubtedly converging on their position. He made the hard choice, a choice that would haunt him for years to come. He left Smiler in Wilkins's care, the professor, no longer just an academic, but a battle-hardened soldier, promising to stay with the young private and get help if and when it was possible. Riley then led the remaining few, a mere handful now, onward into the oppressive darkness. Every instinct screamed at him to stay, to protect his men, but the survival of the majority, if any were to survive, depended on this brutal calculus. The final desperate confrontation came at a small stone bridge over a shallow stream, a choke point Steiner had correctly anticipated as their likely route. The SS officer, driven by a cold fury, had laid a deadly ambush, his men well concealed and waiting. But Riley, ever the improviser, his mind racing, used a captured German flare gun. He fired it not towards the enemy, but to their flank, creating the illusion of a non-existent Allied flanking attack. The ruse worked, sowing just enough confusion and hesitation among Steiner's men for Riley and his depleted force to charge across the bridge. The fight was brutal, a chaotic, close-quarters struggle in the darkness, lit by muzzle flashes and the screams of the wounded. Riley found himself face-to-face with Hauptsturmführer Steiner, the SS officer's Luger pistol, glinting as it came up. But Riley, his movements honed by a lifetime of fighting for survival, was faster. His fighting knife, a grim tool from his Borstal days kept razor-sharp, found its mark with deadly precision. Steiner fell, his eyes wide with surprise, and then nothing. Battered, bleeding, and utterly exhausted, Sergeant Tom Riley and 3 other gaunt survivors stumbled into an American patrol as the gray, indifferent light of dawn broke over the ravaged Normandy landscape. He was gruff, uncommunicative, offering only the barest, most essential details to the surprised U.S. officer who questioned him, his face a mask of weariness. Later, in a crowded, noisy field hospital, his arm roughly bandaged and throbbing, a British major came to see him. "Sergeant Riley," the major said, his voice holding a note of respect. "We found Private Wilkins. He managed to get Private Jones to a forward aid post. Jones will make it, thanks to you both. We also heard what you did. You saved those men. Lieutenant Davies, he would have been proud of your actions. You showed exceptional leadership, Sergeant." Riley just nodded, his face grim, his eyes reflecting the horrors he had witnessed and the choices he had made. The scars of steel forged in the unforgiving shipyards of Glasgow and tempered in the brutal fires of Normandy were etched deep within him. He was a survivor. He was a leader. He was still, to some, Shiv Riley. But now that name meant something more, something earned in blood, courage, and the unwavering loyalty of the men whose lives he had, against all odds, saved.